Welcome back to Coffee and Tea with CarrieVee. So, I walked into my first International Maxwell Conference. This is a conference that is so directional and life changing in my life. But I walked into my very first one not knowing a single person in the room. Honestly, I had no idea what to expect. I had no idea who would be there. There was no agenda for me when I attended that first IMC, the International Maxwell Conference, beyond one quiet, desperate conviction. I needed to be there. I had to be there. And that decision to show up anyway, alone, not knowing anyone, not knowing if I needed to be in that room, not even knowing what the conference was really all about, changed the entire trajectory of my life. And I don't say that to be like, that's not an exaggeration. I'm not trying to be dramatic. It literally changed the entire trajectory of my life, who I met, what I learned, what I tapped into. So listen, grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab your water, grab your B-pop soda, whatever it is you're drinking, grab it, and let's talk about rooms that change everything. So welcome back. Welcome back. I am CarrieVee, your biggest fan. We have dogs in the background. They have been quiet all day until now. It is now where I am, 6:12 p.m. They literally have been quiet all day until now. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad the dog's here. They say hello. This episode, this is one I have been thinking about recording for a while because it is something that I feel very, very strongly about. And I think it's one of the most practical, actionable things that I can share with you that I have learned in my life. We're talking about your environment, specifically the people in it, the people in your environment, the events you attend, the rooms that you choose to walk into, and the ones you've been avoiding. I have attended quite a few events this year, and it hits me over and over again how important it is to get yourself in the room. Whether I am speaking at an event or attending the event, I want to be in that room. And listen, as a speaker, I see so many speakers show up, speak their time spot, and leave. I plan my events that I'm speaking at so that I can be there for the entire event. There are other speakers coming in. I want to hear them. I want to learn from them. I want to meet with the other people that are in that room. I've never understood going, speaking, leaving unless you absolutely have to, maybe because you're catching a flight to the next event. I want to hear what everybody says. That's how important it is. Here's what I know after years of coaching, speaking, consulting, working with small businesses, and growing. You can't outgrow your environment. You can try. You can hustle and grind and push with absolutely everything you have. But if the people around you aren't going anywhere, listen, eventually, neither are you. Let me say that again. If the people around you aren't going anywhere, eventually, neither are you. You're going to stay stagnant just like they're staying stagnant. So let's get into it. All right. Going back to my very first International Maxwell Conference, the IMC. I joined the Maxwell leadership team. This is John Maxwell's leadership communication training. It's an amazing, amazing thing to be a part of. This group, this IMC group of coaches, leaders, trainers is unbelievably amazing. John Maxwell is the world's leading leadership trainer and coach. He is an unbelievable speaker. Being able to hear him speak twice a year, oh my gosh, that's worth it just from there. But it gets so much better. So my very first IMC, I joined the Maxwell leadership team in December of 2021. It was my lifeline. And I think I've shared this on the podcast before. It was something that I could grab hold of after everything I went through in 2021. If you don't know all that, go back a couple of episodes where I share the whole year. It was what I needed to grab onto so that I would stop spiraling. I really didn't understand what I was completely joining, but I knew I loved John Maxwell books. I knew my dad had always encouraged me to tap into what John Maxwell was teaching. And there was this thing called the Maxwell leadership team. And I was like, that's way bigger than everything that's happening to me this year. If I grab hold of that, I might meet some people. I might learn some things that will stop me from spiraling. It could save my life. So in March was the first IMC. As part of the Maxwell leadership team, we get 2 IMCs a year, one in March and one in August. When I joined the team, your first IMC was part of the package. And I didn't know that, but it came across my email. Hey, did you know when you join the Maxwell leadership team, you get to go to your first IMC as part of that fee? And I was like, I need to get to Orlando, Florida. I need to get there. I need to get there. I learned about it. I knew that there would be thousands of people there. I knew there would be top leaders, incredible speakers, including John Maxwell. And I knew that this community had to be amazing because John Maxwell could only attract amazing people. This is what I started thinking. I had no idea who I was going to meet, who I was going to hear speak other than John Maxwell. But I remember thinking, I have to be here. I have to get into that room. It wasn't, oh, that sounds nice, or, oh, that sounds fun, or maybe someday I'll cash in on that. I knew I needed to be there. In the past, I had joined online online courses where it came with a ticket to a free event. And when the free event came up, it's like, oh, I'll do the next one. 3 times. You would think I would have learned this on the first time. 3 times, the event stopped happening. And I never got to cash in on that. And I was like, this is not happening to me. This is not maybe someday. I need to be there. So I joined in December, found out somewhere around February that I got as part of my enrollment fee, I got to go to the first IMC for free. I mean, I still had to get there. I still had to pay for my hotel room, but it came with it. And I thought, I'm not going to lose this one. I need to be there. I need to be there. My life, I felt like, was still falling apart. I need to be in the room. So I went. I went alone. I didn't know a single person in that room of thousands. No one. I walked into that huge conference center in Orlando, Florida at the Marriott World Center. If you've ever been there, you know this place is huge. I walked in with 0 connections and 100% conviction, 100% conviction that I needed to be there. And here's what happened. Not in a dramatic lightning bolt moment, but in the accumulation of the 2.5 days that I was there. I was surrounded by people who were setting goals and pursuing them, having complete success. I was surrounded by people who were talking about growth like it was oxygen, something they couldn't live without. I was surrounded by people who were celebrating each other's wins without an ounce of jealousy. I was surrounded by people who were solving problems instead of complaining about them, and surrounded by people who were looking forward instead of looking back. I so apologize for my dogs. I remember sitting in that room thinking, this is what it feels like to be surrounded by people who are going somewhere. They're headed somewhere. And I heard stories of other people who had overcome such hardships like I was currently in the middle of. This is what it feels like to be surrounded by people who are going somewhere. And I realized in that moment how much of my daily environment was the opposite of that. How many conversations I was having that were circular, how much energy I was spending around people who were comfortable staying exactly where they were. I go back at least once a year, usually twice, every year without fail. Even when I've heard some of the speakers before, even when the content is familiar at times, because it's not about what I learn, it's about who I'm in the room with. Did you hear that? It's not about what I learned, it's about who I'm in the room with. And that changed everything. I have heard people say, well, this person's going to talk about this. Okay. John Maxwell talks about the John Maxwell culture every year. I love it. I take the notes every single year, because I'm sitting with different people. It is vibing with me in a different way. And then there's all new speakers too. So let me break this down because I want to give you something practical and real that you can act on this week. 3 things that I want to talk about in relation to this. Part 1, your environment is your destiny. So choose it. on purpose and choose it wisely. Life is short, choose wisely. That's what my whole business now is built around. Life is short, choose wisely. I registered that trademark. Your environment is your destiny, so choose it on purpose. John Maxwell talks about this. Jim Rohn talks about this. Brian Tracy talks about this. Darren Hardy talks about this. Brendon Burchard talks about this. The idea that you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I have no idea who said it first. I don't even care because it's true. The idea is that you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So really sit with that for a second, because most of us have never actually audited that number. Have you? Have you audited that? Have you written it down? Who are your 5? Who do you wish they were? And what are you making your reality? I mean, who actually are they right now? They don't have to be living people. They can be an author that you've tapped into. Maybe you're reading all John Maxwell books. Maybe you're reading all of Darren Hardy's or Brendon Burchard's, or maybe you've tapped into Jim Rohn. Who are you surrounding yourself with right now? Who are your 5? Are they growing? Are they setting goals and pursuing them? Are they talking about possibilities, or are they talking about their problems? And are they moving forward, or are they comfortable exactly where they are? Here's the truth. And I say this with love because I have been on both sides of this coin. Comfortable people make you comfortable. Growing people make you grow. Comfortable people make you comfortable. Growing people make you grow. And comfortable people aren't moving forward. It's not a lot more complicated than that. It doesn't mean that you abandon the people you love, and it doesn't mean you become critical or unkind of people who aren't in a growth pattern. It means that you are intentional about who gets the most access to your time, your energy, and your mindset. Because your environment is not neutral. It is either pulling you forward or it's pulling you back, full stop, every single day. Your environment is not neutral. It's either pulling you forward or pulling you back, full stop, every single day. So choose your environment on purpose. On purpose. Number 2, part 2, stop waiting and start showing up. Get in the room no matter what. Here's something I hear a lot. It drives me a bit crazy. I mean, in the most loving way possible, of course. I'll go when I can afford it. I'll join when things settle down. I'll get involved when the timing is better. Listen, friend, the timing never going to be perfect. The money is never going to feel like it's completely available. Life is never going to fully settle down. My dad was a musician, shared that too. And when one of us kids wanted to do something, so I'll use music camp as an example. When I wanted to go to music camp every summer, it was very expensive. My dad had made a deal with me. You save half the money, I will get the other half. Your mother and I will get the other half. I found ways to save my half. I did babysitting at the YWCA. I did babysitting for people around the neighborhood. I took on odd jobs. I did whatever I could, and then I saved that money for a year. At the end of camp every year, I would start saving for the next year, and my dad would start making calls, and he would find extra jobs to play, extra ways to earn that money. My mom would take on, she did a lot of office work, and she did a lot of transcribing. Back in the day when you had to go pick up a cassette tape from a lawyer, bring it back, transcribe it, take it back, all that kind of thing, she would take on extra work. And they did this for my brothers too. They always knew there was a way. If you wanted it bad enough, there was a way to afford it. There was a way to do things, even if life was still crazy and the timing was never going to be right. So you might as well do it anyway. I realized I had parents that taught me great, great lessons. You may not have had that, but you have me. So tune in. You have no excuses. Go back and listen to over 300 episodes of Coffee and Tea with CarrieVee. You got everything you need. So I don't want to hear, well, I didn't have what you had when you were a kid. I get most people did it, and I feel extremely blessed because of that. I also feel a huge sense of responsibility to pay it forward and to pass it on to you. Okay, so the timing's never going to be perfect. The money is never going to feel like it's completely available, because it probably isn't. You might have to get out there and do some extra work, and life is never going to fully settle down. Never. Not until you're in a coffin, and then it's too late. So while you're waiting for the perfect moment, listen to this. Someone else is in the room. While you're listening, while you're waiting for your perfect moment, someone else is in the room. The events that line with your goals exist. Go find them. The communities built around your values exist. Go find them. The conferences, the masterminds, the workshops, the groups, they exist right now. So go find them. My only question, and the only question for you, is whether you're going to get in those rooms. I just got back from a speakers retreat from a group that I joined that is helping me on my speaking skills. 2 days of speaking, getting feedback, speaking again, and doing this for the other 9 people who were in attendance. It was fabulous. The same goals, all of us pushing each other forward. Was I completely ready? No. Did I feel like I had all the money in the world to go do that? Nope. But I also knew if I didn't go, somebody else was going to go, and I wasn't going to miss it. I missed the one in May. There was no way I was going to miss the one from July into August, and it was amazing. It was amazing. Find your rooms. Find your rooms. I went to my first IMC not knowing anyway. I went with uncertainty and zero guarantees that it would even be worth it. I went because I decided that being in that room was a non-negotiable for me. Find your room. It doesn't have to be a big national conference. It might be a local networking group, a mastermind, a workshop, a community of people who are pursuing the same things you are. But find it. And then, and this is the important part, show up. Even when it's inconvenient, even when you don't know anyone, and even when you've heard some of the speakers before. Even if they're speaking on the same topic you've heard them speak on before. Because every single time you walk into a room full of people that are going somewhere, you walk out further along than when you went in. Every single time you walk into a room full of people who are going somewhere, you walk out further along than when you walked in. So get in the room, no matter what. And part 3, stop complaining and start living. Because complaining is a choice, but so is growing. So this is the one I feel most strongly about, and I'm going to say it directly. Complaining is comfortable. Complaining is comfortable. Growing is not. Growing is uncomfortable. Complaining, that's easy. There's a lot of complaining going on in comfort zones. You can tell exactly where someone's energy is going by listening to what comes out of their mouth most often. Are they talking about what's possible or what's wrong? Are they looking for solutions or looking for sympathy? Are they taking action or taking inventory of everything that isn't fair? Here's what I know after years of being in rooms with high growth, high achieving, deeply purposeful people. Complainers rarely show up in those rooms because those rooms don't reward complaining, they reward action. They celebrate progress. They ask, what are you building, not what's holding you back. And here's the shift I want you to make, because this is something you can do right now, right today, right now, without any money or connections or perfect timing. Stop talking like someone who isn't going anywhere and start talking like someone who is. Start talking like someone who is going somewhere. Not fake positivity, not pretending everything is fine when it isn't, but choosing on purpose to spend more of your energy on solutions than on problems, more time planning than on complaining, more conversations about where you're going than where you've been stuck. Your words shape your world, and the words of people around you shape it too. So get around people who talk about growth, goals, and possibility, and watch what happens to your own language and watch what happens to your life. So before I let you go, 3 very specific challenges, one for each point. And this is your journal prompt for today. And it's a long one. So take notes. And if you're driving, kind of take note of where you are in this podcast. Come back and listen when you can safely. Write. Challenge 1, audit your 5. Write down the 5 people you spend the most time with right now. Look at that list honestly. Are they who you need them to be for the season you're in? And if not, who do you need to add? You don't need to remove anyone. Just start being intentional about adding growth-minded people to your inner circle. I'm not asking you to just fling people out, but I'm asking you to make that core circle your growth-minded 5. Number 2, find your room. Identify one event, write it down, community or a gathering that aligns with your goals and values, and commit to attending it in the next 90 days. I'm giving you 3 months. I could have said 30. I could have said 10. The next 90 days, not someday, but 90 days. Put it on the calendar right now. I will attend an event by this date and make it a non negotiable. Then get out there and find your event. And number three, do a language audit this week. Pay attention to how much of your conversation is complaint based versus solution based. Every time you catch yourself complaining, pivot, ask yourself, what can I do about this? Then do that instead. Small shifts, consistent practice, big results. Small shifts, consistent practice, big results. I head to the International Maxwell Conference again in a couple of weeks, the end of August going into September, was just there in March. Every single time I walk into that room, surrounded by people who are setting goals, pursuing growth, celebrating each other, and showing up with intention, I'm reminded why this matters so much. You can't outgrow your environment, but you can change your environment. Get around people with goals that match yours. Find the people who are succeeding where you want to grow. Get to the events that align with your values no matter what. And stop complaining and start living, because action is the only thing that actually moves the needle. Your room is waiting for you. So get in it. Thank you for sharing your coffee, your tea, your soda, whatever it is you're drinking, but thank you for sharing it with me. I can't wait to see you next time. I love you. I am your biggest fan.